The stars looked peaceful from the outside, but Ravi knew the truth. He had been floating through space for weeks, far away from Earth. His small explorer ship had been damaged. After it passed through a strange energy storm, the storm came without warning. Systems failed. Communication went silent. The ship's power dropped quickly. Ravi had trained for danger, but he had never faced a situation like this, alone in the darkness. With only emergency lights blinking, he tried to fix the damage. The control screen flickered. The engines were dead. The ship was falling toward the nearest planet. There was no time to send a message to Earth. No one even knew where the waste planet below looked strange. It had tall mountains with glowing tops. Rivers moved like silver threads. The clouds were purple. His ship entered the atmosphere fast. The heat made the outside glow red. The crash was loud and rough. Trees broke. Rocks flew. Metal bent. But somehow, Ravi survived when he opened his eyes. He was lying near the wreck of his ship. Smoke rose into the air. His left arm was bruised. His clothes were torn. He looked around. The forest was unlike anything he had seen before. The trees were tall with dark blue leaves. Some plants gave off a soft light. Insects the size of his hand crawled on the ground. The air smelled sweet and sharp at the same time. He checked his supplies. A small bag of food. A water purifier. A scanner. A broken comm device. His weapon was still working, but he hoped he would not need it. Ravi had one goal now. Survive and find Helfi. Walked carefully through the forest. Strange animal sounds echoed in the distance. His scanner picked up energy signals, but they were far. He followed a river for hours. Sometimes he stopped to rest under thick tree roots. He drank from the river using his purifier. The water was cold and clean, but he always felt like something was watching him in the third night while he slept. Under a rock shelf, he heard soft footsteps. He woke up quietly, before he could grab his weapon. He was surrounded. Tall figures with long arms and blue skin stood over him. They wore armor made of a shining metal. Their eyes glowed gently in the dark. They spoke a language he could not understand. One of them pointed at him. Another one touched his arm with a round device. He felt a small shock, and then he could hear words. He is not one of us. One warrior said he is a sky faller. Another replied, take him to the queen. The first one ordered. Ravi did not fight. He was tired and outnumbered. They tied his hands gently but firmly and led him through the forest. They walked for hours until they reached a wide valley filled with glowing towers. The towers were made of crystal and stone. Flying beasts circled above. At the center of the valley stood a great palace built into a mountain wall. Waterfalls poured from the top, shining in the moonlight inside the palace. The walls glowed with soft blue light. Creatures of many kinds walked through the halls. Some looked like birds. Others had tails like fish. All stepped aside as the warriors walked by. Finally, they reached a large chamber with tall pillars and silver flames. A soft music filled the air. At the end of the chamber, on a raised seat made of living crystal, sat a tall woman. She had a calm face and bright silver eyes. Her skin was soft blue. Her long hair flowed like water. She wore a crown shaped like the moon. Her clothes moved like they were part of the wind. She looked powerful, but also peaceful. This was Queen Alari, ruler of the Varelans. The warriors bowed. One of them spoke, my queen. We found this being near the forest river. He fell from the sky. Alari stood and walked toward Ravi. Her steps made no sound. She looked at him closely. Her eyes held curiosity, not anger. Human, she said softly. You are far from your stars. Ravi was surprised. She spoke his language. Yes, he replied. My ship crashed. I didn't mean to come here. I was lost. The queen nodded. Our watchers saw your ship. We thought it was a weapon. But you are alone, and your heart does not carry hate. She turned to her court. Some of the Varelans whispered. One shouted, he is a danger. Keep him locked. Another said, he must be studied. He could be useful. But Alari raised her hand, and silence fell. This man is not our enemy. He is a visitor, and he is under my protection. She looked at Ravi again. You will not be harmed, but you cannot leave yet. This planet is not safe. You may stay in the garden house, under watch. You will be given food and care. Ravi bowed his head. Thank you. I don't want trouble. I just want to go home. Queen Alari gave a small smile. Home is far, but perhaps you will find something here worth staying for. The guards led Ravi to a small house. Inside the queen's private garden, the garden was full of rare plants and soft lights. Strange birds flew from tree to tree. A silver stream flowed. Through the middle, a guard stood outside the house, but inside, Ravi was treated. Kindly food was placed for him. A soft bed was prepared. He cleaned his wounds and rested that night. He looked at the stars from the window. They were different from Earth's sky, but they were still beautiful. Thought about the queen, her calm face, her strange words, her soft voice. She was not like the leaders on Earth. She ruled with grace, not fear. He knew his life had changed. He had fallen into the unknown. But something inside him told him that this was only the beginning. Forest had more secrets. The queen had more to say, and the stars above were still watching. The morning on Nuria came slowly. Soft light spread across the sky like a gentle wave. Birds with colorful wings flew between trees. In the queen's garden, Ravi woke up to a peaceful silence. He sat up, stretched his arms, and looked outside. The window, the plants around him moved slightly with the wind. Some flowers glowed in the morning air. The stream beside the house made a calm sound. For a moment, Ravi forgot he was far from Earth. Then he remembered everything: the crash, the guards, the palace, and the queen. He took a deep breath. He was still alive. That was enough for now. A tall guard stood near the entrance. He had dark blue armor and held a long spear. His face was serious but not angry. When Ravi stepped out, the guard nodded once and said, "Follow me. The queen has asked to see you again." Ravi followed quietly. They passed other guards, strange trees, and stone bridges. The path led back into the grand palace. Light from the ceiling above made the walls shine like crystal. Creatures of different kinds moved aside as they walked through the halls. Some stared at him with curiosity. Others looked away quickly. The same grand chamber stood at the end. It was even more beautiful in the morning light. Pillars reached the ceiling like trees made of silver. The floor was smooth and bright. The music that played in the background was soft and peaceful. Queen Alari stood near a large table. Maps and shining stones were placed on it. She turned as Ravi entered. Her silver eyes looked directly into his. Her face held calmness, but also deep. "Thought you rested well?" she asked. "Yes," Ravi replied. "Your people were kind." She nodded and pointed to a round seat. "Sit, speak with me." Ravi sat carefully. The guard stepped back but did not leave. Alari stood across from him. Her hands were folded in front of her. "You are far from your kind," she said. "You must have traveled through a great storm. That kind of journey is not easy." Ravi looked down for a moment. "I was exploring. My ship was small. I came alone. I was not supposed to land here. The storm came fast. Everything went dark. Then I woke up in the forest." Alari walked slowly around the table. "My people feared you when they found you. Some still do. They have never seen a human before. Our history with other species has not always been good." "I understand," Ravi said. "On Earth, we fear what we do not know. But I didn't come here to harm anyone. I was just trying to survive." The queen stopped walking and looked at him again. "That is what I see in you. You are not like the warriors from other worlds. You do not carry hate in your heart. You carry something else." Ravi smiled a little. Curiosity maybe, or just hope. A quiet moment passed between them. Then the queen walked to a panel near the wall. She touched it with her hand. A light opened and a glowing screen appeared. It showed stars, planets, and moving ships. "This galaxy is not safe," she said. "There are forces growing beyond our space. The ones who burn planets, the ones who see peace as weakness. We have stayed hidden for many years, but we may not stay hidden much longer." Ravi stood and looked at the screen. "Then you must prepare. You must protect your people. Earth has seen war. I know how fast peace can break." Alari turned toward him again. "Would you help us? If danger comes to Nuria, would you fight?" Ravi was quiet. He looked into her eyes. "I'm one man. My weapon is small, but I would help in any way I can. Not because I must, but because you showed me kindness." And I did not forget that the queen gave a small smile. It was the first time he saw a softness in her face. Words like that are rare. You speak with honor. That matters more than strength. At that moment, a door opened behind them. A group of Varelan nobles walked in. They wore bright robes and carried staffs of power. One of them, a tall elder named Jorn, stepped forward. "My queen," Jorn said. "We cannot allow the human to stay. He is a risk." "We do not know his true purpose," another noble added. "He may be a scout for others. What if more come after him?" Ravi did not speak. He let them finish. Then he looked at Alerith. Queen raised her hand again. The room went silent. "I have heard your voices," she said, "but I have also heard his. He is not our enemy. He is alone. He asks for peace, not power." Jorn frowned. "Your heart is soft, my queen. That can be dangerous." Alari stepped forward. "My heart sees truth, and I see no danger in this man. He will remain under watch, but he will be free within the palace walls." Some nobles looked unhappy, but they did not argue. Her word was final. After they left, the queen turned to Ravi. "You must be careful," she said. "Not all here will welcome you, but some may learn to trust you in time." Ravi nodded. "I will earn that trust. I don't expect it for free." Alari walked with him back through the halls. The crystal windows showed a sky filled with flying creatures. Far in the distance, a tower rose above the hills. She pointed to it. "That is the Tower of Learning," she said. "You may go there, learn about our world, meet our thinkers, speak with our guides. But always keep your promise to bring peace." Ravi looked at the tower and felt something rise in his chest, a sense of purpose. Maybe this was why he had come here. Not by mistake, but by fate. He turned to the queen and bowed his head. "I will learn. I will listen. And when the time comes, I will stand by you." Queen Alari looked at him for a long moment. Then she nodded and walked away through the silver doors. Ravi stood alone in the grand hall. Around him, the lights flickered like stars. The silence was no longer cold. It was filled with meaning. The journey had truly begun. The sun above Nuria was not like Earth's sun. It was softer and larger, glowing with a deep golden color. As it rose, its light reached every tower and tree, making the palace shine like it was made of glass. The people of Nuria, the Varelans, began their day with calm steps and quiet purpose. But something in the air felt different. Something was coming. Ravi stood at the top of the Tower of Learning, watching the sky. He had been on Nuria for weeks now. Each day, he learned more about their language, their machines, and their way of thinking. The Varelans were peaceful and wise, but not weak. Their knowledge was deep, and their connection to nature was strong. Still, they had not known war for many years. And of the teachers, a soft-spoken guide named Marin stood beside him. Marin had long hair like silver strings and wore robes covered in stars. "You look troubled, Ravi." Marin said, "I feel something strange," Ravi replied. "On Earth, before trouble begins, there's a feeling, like the air changes. I feel that here today." Marin looked up. His eyes narrowed. "Our watchers have reported something strange. Near the edge of the stars, a signal was picked up last night. It is not natural." Ravi turned quickly. "You should tell the queen. She already knows." Marin said, "She has called a council. All leaders are gathering now at the palace." Queen Alari stood in her war chamber. Around her were advisors, generals, and science masters. The round table in the center showed a glowing map of space. A red point blinked near the edge of Nuria's system. "This is the source of the signal," said Jorn, the elder noble who once doubted Ravi. "It is not from any known trade path. It is moving fast." Another warrior pointed at the screen. "We tried to contact them. No answer. No code. They come in silence." Ravi entered the chamber with Marin. The queen looked at him and nodded. "You should hear this," she said. Jorn frowned, but did not stop them. Queen Alari stepped forward. Her voice was calm but strong. "Our watchers believe the signal is from the Zarnax, a race known for taking worlds by force. They do not ask questions. They do not offer peace. They arrive, destroy, and move on." Whispers filled the room. Some were afraid. Others were angry. "They should not know we are here," a noble said. We have kept our world hidden for centuries. They may have followed the human. Another said. He fell from the sky. They may be searching for him. Ravi stepped forward. No, I came through the storm. I was not followed. This is not about me. The queen raised her hand. Blame will not help us. The truth is simple. We may be in danger, and we must prepare. Jorn looked at Ravi with doubt. And what would the humans suggest we do? We are not Earth. We do not build guns and ships like your people. Ravi did not answer with anger. He looked around the table. You are not Earth. You are better in many ways. But if the Zarnax come, they will not care about your peace. You must protect your home. Let me help. Queen Alari looked at him closely. You know how to prepare for war. I was trained for survival, Ravi said. I studied how to fight and how to lead. I can teach your warriors to defend the land. We can set traps, build shields, and guard your people. Jorn crossed his arms. You expect us to trust a man who fell from the sky. I expect you to trust your queen, Ravi said. She gave me a chance, and I will not fail her. The queen gave a small nod. Ravi will train with our guards. He will lead a team. This is not a time for pride. This is a time for unity. The next days moved quickly. Ravi worked with the palace guards. He showed them how to hide movement in the trees, how to build simple alarms using the forest, and how to move in silence. The Varelans were fast learners. Their movements were smooth. Their connection with the land gave them an advantage. Of the guards, a young warrior named Kiva became close to Ravi. She had sharp eyes and asked many questions. Why do you help us? Kiva asked one night while they set up a watchtower. Because your queen believed in me when no one else did, Ravi replied. And because this place feels more like home than any place I have ever known. Kiva looked at the stars. I was born during peace. I never thought I would have to fight. No one wants to, Ravi said. But sometimes we must, not for war, but for those we care about. Far above the sky, the red light moved closer. It became clear. The watchers saw the shape of a large dark ship. The Zarnax had Ervet. The queen stood at the top of the palace tower. Ravi stood beside her. They are here, she said. Yes, Ravi replied. But so are we, and we are ready. She looked at him with quiet strength. Do you believe we can win? Ravi did not promise easy victory. He simply said, we will not fall without a fight. As night covered Nuria, lights filled the sky. The Zarnax ship blocked part of the stars. It was large, black, and without beauty. It moved like a shadow with purpose. Ravi walked to his team. Kiva and the other warriors stood ready. Their armor was light, and their eyes were sharp. Ravi held a small device made by the Varelans to signal other teams across the land. Looked once more at the sky. The time had cometh. Peace of Nuria was breaking, and the battle for its future was about to begin. The night on Nuria turned quiet before the storm. The air became heavy. Even the glowing birds in the trees flew away and disappeared into the mountains. The rivers flowed slower. The wind stopped. Everything waited. The dark ship of the Zarnax had entered the sky. It moved without sound. It covered the stars like a black curtain. The watchers in the tower sent the signal. The queen gave the command. Ravi stood near the edge of the forest with his team. They were hidden behind tall blue trees. Kiva stood beside him. Her armor was painted with forest colors. Her spear had been sharpened by her own hand. We are ready, she whispered. Ravi looked at the hills. They will come fast, but we will not run. Stay low. Use the traps. Do not waste your strength. He pressed a small stone on his belt. It sent a light signal to the other groups. Warriors were hiding across the valley, behind rocks, under trees, and near the rivers. Ravi had helped them place silent alarms using Nurian plants and old wires from his broken ship. When the enemy stepped near, the land would speak. Suddenly the sky flashed red. A beam of light from the Zarnax ship hit the far side of the valley. A guard tower turned into fire. Dust rose high. The first wave had begun. Machines dropped from the sky. They looked like spiders made of black metal. Their legs cut through stone. Their red eyes scanned everything. Behind them walked the Zarnax soldiers. They were tall, covered in thick armor, and held weapons that hissed with dark. Energized Varelan warriors stayed still. Ravi raised his hand and waited. When the machine stepped into the first trap zone, He dropped his hand. A line of bright vines pulled tight from under the ground. The machines tripped and fell into a pit filled with sharp stones. The warriors ran forward and attacked the rest with speed. And Skilkiva jumped first. She landed on the back of one Zarnak soldier and struck his neck. The armor cracked. Another warrior used a stone pulse weapon and pushed two enemies back into the river Ravi fought. Beside them, he had no energy shield like the Zarnaks, but he moved fast. He used the trees as cover and threw smoke balls to confuse the enemy. He had trained for moments like this, but fighting with the Varelans gave him new purpose. He was not just surviving now, he was protecting in the palace. Queen Alari stood before a great crystal screen. It showed the battlefield in glowing shapes. She watched each move with careful eyes. Her voice was calm as she gave new orders: send the air gliders. Hold the northern wall. Do not let the Zarnaks reach the inner gates. One of her guards ran up the steps. My queen. The western tower has been hit. The path to the palace is open. Alari nodded. Prepare the final line and bring the shield to full strength. Suddenly the palace shook. A second blast from the ship hit closer. Part of the outer wall cracked. Dust fell from the ceiling. Alari turned toward the exit. You must stay safe, my queen. The guard said, the people are my safety. She replied, if I hide, they will lose hope outside. Ravi and his team pushed the enemy back. The traps had helped, but more Zarnak's ships were landing. Their machines spread through the valley like dark fire. Trees burned. The sky turned gray. Ravi's communicator blinked. A message came from the palace. The queen is trapped in the main tower. The enemy has reached the lower halls. She needs help. Ravi turned to Kiva. I need to go. Stay with the team. Protect this ground. She looked worried. You will not make it alone. I have to try. He said. Ran through the burning forest. Smoke filled the air. Parts of the path had fallen. He climbed over broken stones and ducked under falling branches. He reached the palace gates and saw enemy machines breaking through the doors. Guards were down. The queen's tower was still standing, but fire had climbed its walls inside the tower. Queen Alari stood with her sword. She had once trained as a warrior, though few knew it. She protected two young healers hiding behind her. Her robe was torn. Her crown was gone. But her eyes were full. Of Revi entered through the side gate. He saw her at the top of the stairs. A large Zarnak soldier stood in front of her, ready to strike without thinking. Ravi jumped forward. He threw his last smoke ball and ran into the cloud. He grabbed the enemy's arm and pulled hard. The weapon dropped. Alari used the moment to strike with her sword. The soldier fell. More footsteps came. More enemies climbed the stairs. We must go, Ravi said. This tower will not stand much longer. Alari nodded. She held the hand of one healer. Ravi took the other. Together they ran down the back hallway. Fire spread across the walls. Stones fell behind them. The light grew darker. At one point, Alari tripped. Ravi caught her and helped her stand. You should not have come alone. She said, I couldn't let you fall. He replied. They reached the lower gate. A loud sound shook the floor. A beast from the Zarnak's side had broken through. It looked like a large lizard with metal skin. Its eyes glowed red. It charged toward them. Ravi pulled Alari behind him. He raised his old weapon and fired. The beam hit the beast in the eye, but it kept coming. He waited until it came close and then jumped to the side. As it turned, Alari threw her sword with all her strength. The blade struck deep into the beast's neck. It roared once and dropped. Ravi and Alari stood in silence. The tower behind them cracked. One final stone fell from above. The top of the tower came down with a crash. Fire lit. The sky guards from the palace ran toward them. The queen is safe. One of them shouted. Alari looked at Ravi. Her voice was soft. Now you saved my life. Ravi shook his head. You saved mine. So they looked around at the ruins. Smoke rose from the ground. The sky above still held the shadow of the Zarnak's ship. The battle was not over, but hope had not died. The battle was over, but the air on Nuria still carried the smell of smoke and ash. The stars shone above, calm and bright, as if nothing had changed. But the people of the planet knew better. Their home had been attacked by a fierce enemy, and their lives would never be the same. Ravi sat quietly in the healing chamber. Soft light surrounded him, Machines hummed gently, sending warm pulses over his wounds. His left arm ached where he had been hurt in the fight. His body felt weak, but his spirit was strong when Alari stayed by his side. Her blue skin seemed softer in the gentle light. She held his hand carefully. Her silver eyes looked at him with gratitude and something more, respect and friendship. You are stronger than I thought, she said softly. You did not have to risk yourself for me. Ravi smiled weakly. You saved me first. If I had not carried you from the tower, I might be lost in the fire. She shook her head. You carry a courage few have. That courage saved us all outside the healing chamber. The palace was busy. Workers repaired broken walls. Scientists studied the enemy machines left behind. The people talked quietly, some in fear, others in hope. The Zornax had been pushed back, but their power was not broken. A group of healers entered the room. They spoke softly and moved with care. They gave Ravi food and water. They cleaned his wounds and checked his breathing. The queen watched every move. Then she spoke to the chief healer. Tell me the truth, she said. Will he recover quickly? The healer nodded. He will live. His body is strong, but his spirit is what matters most now. He needs peace to heal fully. Alari looked at Ravi. Peace will come. We will make sure of that. Days passed. Ravi stayed in the healing chambers. Each day, he felt stronger. He walked slowly through the palace gardens. The soft green leaves and colorful flowers welcomed him back to life. The stream beside the garden sang its gentle song. Strange birds flew above, their wings shimmering under the sun. Queen Alari often visited him. She brought stories of her people. She told him about the history of Nuria, about the wars they had fought long ago, and the peace they had won. She shared her hopes and fears. An afternoon, they sat by the silver stream. The sun was warm. The sky was clear. Alari looked at Ravi with a small smile. You have changed the heart of this world, she said. Before you, many feared what they did not understand. Now, they see a human not as a stranger, but as a friend. Ravi looked away, feeling shy. I only did what I could. I am still a visitor here. She reached out and took his hand. You are more than a visitor. You are part of our story now. Their eyes met. For a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. Later, the queen called a meeting in the great hall. Leaders and warriors gathered. The people wanted to thank Ravi. The room was filled with quiet excitement. Many had heard of the human who saved. Their Queen Alari spoke to the crowd. Ravi has shown us the strength of kindness and courage. He fought not for power, but for peace. We honor him as a hero of Nuria. Ravi felt shy but proud. He stood tall and bowed. The crowd cheered softly. He saw faces filled with hope and trust that night. Ravi walked alone through the palace gardens. The stars shone bright. He held the medal the queen had given him. It was made of starlight and crystal, glowing softly in his hand. It was a symbol of a new bond between two worlds. Thought of Earth. He thought of his family and friends. He wondered if they knew where he was now. But a new feeling grew inside him, a feeling of belonging. The next day, Ravi received a message from the queen. She asked him to meet her in the private garden. When he arrived, Alari was waiting by a small fountain. She handed him a simple pendant made of blue stone. It shone with a soft light. This is a gift, she said. It holds a map of our stars. If you ever wish to return home, it will guide you. Ravi held the pendant carefully. Thank you. This means more than I can say. Alari smiled. You are welcome here, Ravi. But I understand if your heart calls you back to Earth. They stood together, watching the water flow in the fountain. The future was uncertain, but for now, peace had returned. Days passed gently on Nuria. The sun rose and set over calm rivers and shining forests. Ravi spent his time learning more about the Varelans. He visited the Tower of Learning and spoke with scholars who told stories of the stars and the history of many worlds. The peace after the battle felt fragile, but hope grew like new leaves after a storm. One morning, Queen Alari invited Ravi to walk with her outside the palace walls. The air was fresh and cool. Flowers of many colors bloomed in the gardens. Birds sang soft songs as they flew from tree to tree. You have learned much, Alari said quietly, but there is more to know. about us, about your world, and about the future. Ravi looked at her with interest. I want to understand. I want to help. They walked slowly along a stone path that led to a quiet hill. From the top, the whole valley and the palace could be seen. The sky stretched wide and bright. Alari, Ravi began. Why did you trust me so quickly? Others were afraid. They thought I might be a danger. The queen smiled softly. Because I saw your heart. You did not come to conquer or steal. You came to live, to survive. That makes you different. She paused and looked away. But there is a truth many do not speak aloud. Our worlds are not so far apart as they seem. The stars connect us in ways you might not imagine. Ravi was curious. What do you mean? Alari took a deep breath. Long ago, before history was written, our ancestors met. There were times of peace and times of war. Our people shared knowledge and lived together. But then, fear and misunderstanding grew. We separated. We hid. Ravi nodded slowly. So, this is a chance for those worlds to come together again. Yes, Alari replied. But it will not be easy. There are others who do not want peace. The Zornax are only one threat. There are many who fear what we can become if we unite. Ravi thought about Earth. The wars he had heard about. The fights over power and fear. I want to believe we can change. But how? Alari looked at him with hope. By learning from each other. By trusting in courage and kindness. By standing together when the dark comes, suddenly. A message arrived from the spaceport. A ship was coming from Earth. Ravi's home was reaching out to him. The queen watched as Ravi's face changed. Your people have found you. Yes, he said softly. They want to bring me home. Alari nodded. You have a choice, to return to Earth or to stay here. Whatever you decide, know that you have a place with us. Ravi looked up at the sky. The stars were bright. His heart was full of questions, but also peace. I will think, he said. For now, I am where I need to be. Alari smiled. That is enough. As the sun set, they walked down the hill together. Two worlds, once distant, now connected by hope and trust. The morning light fell gently on Nuria. The stars had faded, but their memory remained in the clear sky. Ravi stood at the edge of the palace gardens, holding the blue pendant queen Alari had given him. The soft stone shone in the sun, a reminder of his journey and the choice ahead of his thoughts traveled far. Earth, his home, called him back. His family, his friends, yet here was a new world. A new family who had shown him kindness and trust. His heart felt torn between to possess. Queen joined him quietly. Her silver eyes looked toward the horizon. You have not spoken about your choice, she said softly. Ravi sighed. I have thought a lot. The Zornax threat is not over. Your people need me here. But my world needs me too. Alari nodded. You can choose either path or create a new one. The stars are wide, and hope is strong. Days passed, and Ravi prepared for a journey unlike any other. He worked with the Varelans to build a small ship. It was faster and stronger than his old one, with new technology combined with Earth's designs. It was a symbol of the connection between worlds. In the day of departure, the palace gathered. Warriors, healers, scholars, and children stood together. They came to say goodbye and to wish him well. The air was filled with quiet emotion. Queen Alari stepped forward. She placed a hand on Ravi's shoulder. You saved my life once. Now, you carry the life of two worlds in your hands. Go with our blessing. Ravi looked at her, grateful beyond words. I will return one day. With friends and peace, the ship lifted slowly. Lights glowed under its wings. The crowd watched as it rose into the sky, breaking free from the planet's embrace. Ravi looked down once more at Nuria, its glowing forests, its shining rivers. In the home that had become part of Heim as the stars surrounded him, Ravi thought of the future. A future where humans and Varelans could stand together, where courage and kindness would guide the way, where the unknown would become a place of friendship. The journey ahead was long, but Ravi was ready. With hope in his heart and the queen's words in his mind, he faced the endless stars. The universe was wide. An adventure awaited. This was not an end. It was a new dawn, the end.